Alright, so this past weekend we got the season finale to season 4 of everybody's favorite superhero show, The Boys. That means today I am going to review season 4. Alright, so I did have a review of the first 5 episodes of The Boys, but we did get 3 more episodes, and that was more of an in-depth look. Today I'm just going to review the series, or better yet, the season. And yeah, so tell me down below, what is your opinions on season 4 of The Boys? Also, while you're down there, stay tuned for a season ranking coming soon. Once I finish Gen V, I still gotta watch Gen V, but there will be a season ranking of The Boys coming soon. Also, if you don't notice, my voice is a little bit shot because I don't feel too good today. So if I stop to take a breath or whatever, if I just stop for just a brief, long, extended period, that's why. And with that said, let's get started talking about season 4 of The Boys. Also, yeah, subscriber at 194. Let's get to 200 this next week. With that said, here we go into season 4 of The Boys, and it's an unpopular opinion of mine because so many people thought that this season was disappointing. They thought it had no story. They thought it was really weak. For me, I thought it was a really great season. I really did like the season quite a bit. What the season does well is set us up for the series finale season. Sets us up for season 5, where it gets us from point A, Homelander wanting to kill the president, and the boys again wanting to stop him. And by the end of it, gets us to point B, where Sister Sage's plan fully worked, and Homelander wins. That's what this season does so well, is get us from point A to point B. This is very obviously a bridge season to season 5, but it's a very good bridge season to season 5. I thought it was a very good season in and of itself. I get the issues people have. I get the fact that there's way too many character arcs. I get the fact that there's some certain plot points that you don't like. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it progresses the story. I get that. But this show also has a lot of criticism from people that are just mad at, like, Frenchie's gay, or that they're trying to kill the president. There's a lot of people that are mad at that, which you don't realize that the show is literally making fun of you, who is mad at that. So, I just, I never really got frustrated with that. Obviously, I wasn't super interested in the Frenchie gay plotline, but, I mean, it wasn't the worst plotline I've ever seen, so that's saying something. But yeah, overall, I just thought that this was a great season. Heading into specific details, let's talk about a couple of the character arcs. And Homelander's character arc with him and Sister Sage, that was rounded out perfectly, I thought. Obviously, all the seasons of The Boys are about the boys trying to kill Homelander. That's what I don't get when people say that there's no story, because in the other seasons, it was literally just the boys trying to kill Homelander. That's literally what those seasons were. There wasn't like a huge overarching story in there. And so that's the same thing with this one right here, is it's about the boys trying to kill Homelander. I think Homelander, him going to get Sister Sage, was great. Homelander's whole plot, or rather, yeah, Sister Sage's whole plot was great, and to see it come to fruition in the end was pretty awesome. Homelander has some great stuff. Obviously, Anthony Starr, I think, is phenomenal, and all of his scenes in here were great. There was a point in time after episode 4 where I was just terrified of him. Every scene that he was in, I was terrified to see what he would do. And then, episode 4 itself, when he goes to visit these people that created him, is pretty awesome. It's really, really, really awesome. The way that it's handled, and the way that Anthony Starr's performance is, it's great. Aside from Homelander and Sister Sage, you got the other people in the 7. You got the Deep, who kind of just has this weird plotline. I wasn't too into this plotline with the octopus. I thought that was pretty weird. Wasn't too into that. But once he gets in, like, the final stages of it, he's pretty great in that last episode where he's just trying to find Ashley, and he can't even spell Ashley right. It is genuinely hilarious. I really like the Deep in this season. We got A-Train, who by far is the most improved character. You start off the series by hating him. He kills Huey's girlfriend. And then you get to the end of this season, and he's helping out the boys. He wants to stop Homelander. He's obviously flawed, but he's willing to change. And so it's kind of weird because you just don't like the character at all. And then by season 3 and season 4, he's a character that you're really happy that he's changing. You're really happy that Huey's kind of forgiving him here. And I just really like this character arc, and I cannot wait to see how that comes to the rest of fruition in season 5. You get the new Black Noir, and he just had, he was okay. It was just like a running gag, like, you gotta stop talking. And I thought it was okay. He didn't really do anything super cool like the original Black Noir did, so he wasn't as mysterious as a character, but I still thought he was pretty okay, in my opinion. Who else is in the 7? We got Firecracker. Not a huge fan of her. I mean, I didn't really... She was cool when she was just, like, spoiling the secrets about Starlight and her feud with Starlight, but it was just kind of ridiculous the way it goes. I didn't mind why they hated each other, but by the end of the season, she didn't really do anything except, like, be like, Homelander, I'm all yours, drink my breast milk, and I just didn't find that as interesting. So, 7, Homelander, A-Train, fantastic in the season. The rest of the 7, they're just there, like they normally are. I mean, they got their own individual plot lines, but like they're just little snippets in each individual episode. Getting on to The Boys plot lines, we got Billy Butcher. Phenomenal plotline. I really loved his plotline here, where he's dying, he's still trying to lead the boys, but by the end of the season, he is just like, screw it, I'm gonna listen to Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, which I thought was phenomenal. I really loved how he has Becca on one shoulder, Jeffrey Dean Morgan on the other, the angel and the devil of Billy Butcher. I thought that was one of the best parts of the series, because Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character was good until he, like, we learned that he was a person on the shoulder, and there's theories on Twitter, people pretty much assume that, but I kind of didn't like that idea until that actually happened. And then Jeffrey Dean Morgan went full psycho mode. He was phenomenal. I absolutely loved his performance in the rest of the season as soon as we learned he's a devil on the shoulder, and the whole thing with Billy Butcher and that, and then eventually at the end of the season letting Jeffrey Dean Morgan take over, killing Victoria Newman. I thought that was great. Billy Butcher had a fantastic character arc, and I really want to see how the boys have to take him down. In season 5, we're also having to take Homelander down. I'm really excited to see how the show progresses after that. We got Huey. Huey had a fantastic character arc here as well. A lot of people don't like the fact that he got sexually assaulted, but I don't get, like, giving the show a bad review because he got sexually assaulted. Because, like, it's part of a character arc. If you don't like something about a character arc, that's fine. I don't like several character arcs in this season, but, like, why give the entire show a bad review because of something that happened to Huey? I found that to be really weird, but his whole character arc here was pretty great. His mom comes back, and that whole thing with his dad with a fantastic top 10 The Boys performance in Simon Pegg. So that was pretty great right there. That whole episode was terrifying. But Huey's whole character arc to just having everything bad happen to him this season was pretty good. I did not like what happened to him at the end with the shapeshifter and him getting married. I like that part, but the conflict between him and Starlight is Starlight's like, how did you not know the shapeshifter that looks exactly like me, sounds exactly like me, has my memories? How did you not know it was me? Like, that's just ridiculous, the fact that she can get mad about that, and I was glad that they just one scene and over with that. I was genuinely kind of pissed off at what they did there. So I wasn't a huge fan of that, but a lot of stuff that happened with Huey, all the bad things that happened to him, I really liked. He had a decent character arc. It's just like, oh, I want to go with my family again. Doesn't really have anything special. Who else? Frenchie, I don't think had that good of a character arc, in my opinion. Whole stuff with Colin and him being gay, which I don't mind. It just wasn't as interesting, where we have to stop whatever chaos and carnage is going on in The Boys and have to go spend time with Frenchie and Colin as they talk about Colin's family who was murdered. I don't really feel like that works. But Frenchie gets much better as it goes along. Once we get Frenchie turning himself into prison, I thought that was really, really interesting. And then his romance with Kimiko, I thought was pretty great. So that was one thing I really did enjoy about that, is that they finally got together. Kimiko, her plotline just kind of doesn't come to fruition. I mean, you have her facing against her former whatever she was kidnapped by. and this one girl, and we get her in one episode where she says she hates him and nothing else happens. I hope we finish that off in season 5, but I wasn't too much of a fan of that. Starlight's character arc was pretty good. I liked her character arc when Firecracker was like, hey, she had an abortion, and what Starlight had to go through after that. But there was also times that Starlight could get a little too much like a woman, especially like in that last episode. Like, how could you be mad that you slept with someone that looks exactly like me, feels exactly like me, and has exactly my memories? So that was a little frustrating, but a lot of stuff that they did with Starlight I really liked in this season as well. So there were a lot of character arcs that I did really enjoy here. There were a lot that I was iffy on, but there were some character arcs that I did really enjoy, especially seeing what Homelander's doing and all the intensity that comes in that. I'm super excited to see what happens there. And season 5, the way it's kind of setting up with Billy Butcher kind of being the villain, Homelander kind of being the villain, I cannot wait. So the season finale, I think, was the best season finale out of every single The Boys season we've got so far. I mean, we start out trying to protect the president, and with Victoria Newman finally coming to The Boys for help, and we get to see Billy Butcher being bedridden, being depressed. He's trying to help Ryan, who had a great character arc in the season as well. And when he's helping Ryan, and then Ryan's like, no, and then he kills Mallory. We'll talk about Ryan here in a minute, but then Homelander just lets Jeffrey Dean Morgan, or not Homelander, but Billy Butcher just lets Jeffrey Dean Morgan take control, and he kills Victoria Newman. And that's when stuff starts to go wild. As Victoria Newman's dead, Sister Sage, everything that she planned has come to fruition, and then the boys get captured. And that's awesome. That's an awesome way to set up for a 5th season. I get that a lot of people say that there wasn't much of a story here, but I feel there's plenty of a story here. I mean, you have this virus that the boys are going after. You have all these things that happen when they're going after it, like especially episode 4 we'll talk about the individual episodes here in a minute, but with like the flying goats, and then trying to get Samir and stealing the virus from him, and just like that whole conflict, like it'll kill every soup, but it'll also kill Homelander, and that's an interesting idea there. Let's talk about Ryan real quick. Ryan was interesting for me, because at one point it was like Ryan does not want to do what Homelander wants him to do. He wants to be a good guy. And then, like, then in that one scene at the end where he's like, hey, Homelander, or Billy Butcher's like, hey, we need you to kill Homelander. And Ryan's like, no, I don't kill people. And then he turns around and kills Mallory and just looks at her and walks away. I thought that felt really weird. And there were a couple scenes that Ryan just felt so out of place. Like, he was letting his Homelander shine through, but then he like was still trying to be good. Like, that felt like a kind of a weird direction to go, especially when he kills Mallory. But I feel like if they just stuck with Ryan becoming Homelander, but also trying to stay good for Billy Butcher, I feel like that would have been much better. Instead, they didn't really handle that as well. But I still like the scenes. I like that he killed Mallory because it sets up something really interesting. It just felt a little bit out of character, especially like that scene where he's telling the guy to just get slapped repeatedly over and over again. It's like, I want to do good in this world. And then he just tortures this guy, and it just, there are just a couple scenes like that. They didn't really bother me that much because they were good scenes. They were good progression for Ryan, but just, I felt like it was like 1 second he's really good, really for Billy Butcher, wants to help him. The next second he's turning into Homelander, and it's just kind of like two completely separate characters there. What else do we got here? The individual episodes. So episode 1, 2, and 3, I felt like they were more on line with seasons 1 and 2. Or 1 and 2 were good, they were just kind of forgettable. They were fun to watch, but they weren't great to like just think about. And I felt like they were that. And then episode 4 really shined through. That's when it really kicked into gear. We get Homelander going to go visit his past. That whole great episode. Then we get episode 5 when we're with the boys, and we got all these flying sheep and cows, the V-up sheep and cows and goats. I thought it was phenomenal. That was a genuinely hilarious and very fun episode. It was really good. Episode 6, I know a lot of people say, a lot of people didn't like that episode because of what happened to Huey, and I don't think it's cool for Eric Kripke to say, hey, yeah, that was meant as a joke. Felt like that was kind of weird, but overall as an episode, I thought it was pretty good because we get all the stuff with Victoria Newman and Homelander and seeing how their plot is going. Sister Sage getting shot in the head. The stuff with A-Train was phenomenal in that episode. You get to kill Tech Knight. I thought there was a lot of fantastic stuff in that episode, and even like the SA stuff on Huey wasn't good, but it was intense, and it didn't feel so out of pocket for it to happen, like the part where they just walk in on somebody licking his own butthole, for choice of words. But it feels like something that would happen because you've seen Ashley having a fetish like this, and it just totally feels like something that is natural and what happened. So I didn't fully hate that. I hated watching it, but I didn't fully hate that. I hate that it happened to him. It's weird to say because I did hate it, but at the same time it felt natural and didn't feel like a forced, inappropriate thing in there. And especially that Tech Knight knew that it wasn't Webweaver, so I thought that was pretty cool. Episode 7, I feel, didn't set up a finale. I felt like it was really kind of slower and just ended at a part where I was like, ooh, okay, I'm not sure how you're gonna set up a finale there. And the way that the finale worked is that we have all these overarching plot lines that would just be another episode of The Boys, and it doesn't fully end off the season because we end at a cliffhanger where Homelander won, and it's done so perfectly. Episode 8 is the best finale of The Boys. It's one of the best episodes. We got 3 of the best episodes of The Boys in the season. Episode 4, Episode 5, and Episode 8 were some of the best episodes of the entire Boys series. So while I get a lot of you had issues with it, I get that a lot of the story didn't advance. I feel like the story advanced enough to head us towards Season 5. I felt a lot of the character arcs were interesting. I felt that everything that we love about The Boys was pretty great in the season, and it turned into a really intense finale. I cannot wait for Season 5. I just genuinely really enjoyed this season of The Boys, and I get that a lot of you had issues with it. I personally had a few, but I genuinely enjoyed the season as a whole. That's why The Boys Season 4 from me is going to get an A. I really enjoyed the season. I will have a season's ranking once I finally watch Gen V. It'll be about a month probably. So stay tuned for that video coming out. Next video is going to be a Twisters review. I saw Twisters, gonna have that out. Then I'm gonna have an Acolyte review, a Star Wars ranking, Star Wars show ranking rather, a Boys season ranking. I got so many videos coming out to you guys. Best horror movies of the decade. This next week is going to be a doozy. But with that said, thank you for clicking on this video. Comment down below what did you think of The Boys Season 4. And with that said, subscribe, join the Nerd Army. Peace out.